Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another Instant Deck Tech. So all this week, as you probably know by now, it is Eldritch Moon week, and we are looking at decks that feature some of the sweet new cards from Magic's newest set. So today we are heading to Modern for Mono White Hatebears. This one recently took Max Hirsch to a top 4 finish at the SCG Modern Classic in Columbus. So congrats to Max on his finish with the deck. A quick reminder before we break it all down. If you enjoy this deck and want to see it made into videos, take a minute, click the like button, the subscribe button, leave a comment, anything you can do to support your deck, because whichever is most popular gets a shot at being made into videos next week. So Mono White Hatebears is this deck that pretty much tries to annoy the opponent to death with small advantages. So the first thing the deck does, maybe the most important thing it does, is attack its opponent's mana base with the help of Leonin Arbiter. So Leonin Arbiter is a bear, 2 mana, 2/2, and it keeps players from searching their library unless they pay 2, and then they get to ignore the effect for 1 turn. So what the deck wants to do is get a Leonin Arbiter on the battlefield, and then it turns Ghost Quarter into a straight-up Strip Mine. Since the opponent can't, in a lot of cases, if they're tapped out, pay for Leonin Arbiter, you just get to sack your Ghost Quarter to destroy a target land your opponent controls. And then you have Path to Exile, which becomes the best removal spell ever printed when your opponent can't search for a land. Just 1 mana, exile target creature, so good. And then the deck has a backup plan of Aven Mind Sensor, which is this really odd taxing effect. Most of the time what you want to do with Aven Mind Sensor is play it in response to your opponent cracking a fetch land, and then it makes it so your opponent only gets to search the top 4 cards of their library instead of their whole deck. So there's a pretty good chance that they'll fail to find a fetch land in the top, or fail to find a fetchable land in the top 4 cards of their library, and then you basically got to destroy their land, and you have a 2/1 flyer left over. So the first thing this deck wants to do is mess with its opponent's lands, keep them low on resources so they can't cast big expensive things, and then it's hopefully beating down here and there for 2 damage while it's doing this. Then the deck plays Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, 4 copies, which is a lot for a legendary creature, so this deck really wants it. Thalia, 2/1 first strike, so decent on the ground, plus it makes non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast. Well, this deck only plays 2 non-creature spells. Plays the Path to Exiles, 1 mana of course, and then Ether Vial, which the deck really wants to play on turn 1 before Thalia would come down, and then it can start cheating on mana by putting creatures into play every turn. So the deck doesn't really hurt itself by making non-creature spells cost 1 more, but opposing decks, when they got to pay 2 for Serum Visions, 3 for Remand and Mana Leak, 5 for Scape Shift, it's a really huge deal. It might not seem like a lot, but it makes you play off-curve, plus it just straight up beats decks like Storm on its own. So that's kind of plan B, make things cost more for the opponent. Then the deck just plays some beatdown type stuff. These cards are especially sweet with Ether Vial. You take the vial up to 3 or 4, and you can put your Flicker Wisp in instant speed to save your creature by blinking it. But the basic idea with these cards on level 1 is you play a Blade Splicer, you get the 1/1, you get a 3/3 Golem with first strike, and then you can blink the Blade Splicer a bunch of times with your Restoration Angels, with your Flicker Wisp, keep creating more first striking Golems, and use those Golems to win the game. And then we have a Brimaz, which is pretty much just a beatdown creature. And then the reason we are talking about this deck, the deck is added 4 copies of Selfless Spirit from Eldritch Moon, a 2/1 flyer for 2 mana, so another evasive threat that you can sack to give your entire team indestructible until end of turn. So this one saves all your stuff from a Pyroclasm and Anger of the Gods, a Supreme Verdict, even just saving 1 creature from a Lightning Bolt or a Terminate is a pretty powerful effect, especially when it comes attached to an evasive creature. So it's looking like Selfless Spirit is one of the more underrated cards in the set, at least by me. I thought the card was good, but I wasn't expecting it to immediately show up as a 4 of in Modern. So pretty good week 1 performance for Selfless Spirit. The rest of the deck in the mana base, Ajano Castle saves your Thalias from damage, saves your Brimaz from damage, prevents damage to legendary creatures. Flagstones has some weird value. If you destroy it with your own Ghost Quarter, you get to search out 2 planes. Horizon Canopy draws you a card, a single Mutavault for some attacking. The Tech Edges and Ghost Quarters, we kind of already talked about these, taxing your opponent's mana, and then just a bunch of planes. In the sideboard, a bunch of removal, some Stony Silences for affinity, and then some weird hateful creatures. Burrington Forge Tender, awesome against burn decks, more protection from Pyroclasms and Anger of the Gods. Mirroring Crusader is one of the most crazy cards in Modern. If you knew you never had to worry about Path to Exile, or you had to worry about Lightning Bolt. So if you run into decks that are mostly green-black, Mirroring Crusader is pretty much an unkillable double striker, and then, oddly enough, a couple of Odric Lunarch Marshals, which gives your entire team flying most of the time. Anyway, that is Mono White Hatebears in Modern, featuring the new Eldritch Moon card, Selfless Spirit. That's been our Instant Deck for today. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon.